I am joined by Heather, Director of Revenue Management from Long Beach Resort in British Columbia. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a little foggy on the coast here today, but still a great day to be at the beach.
Yeah, well, it looks like the sun is shining through that window there. So,
Yeah, it's just, no, it's foggy.
well, tell us a little bit about the location of your resort.
Yeah, so Long Beach Lodge Resort is located on the west coast of Vancouver Island in British Columbia, Canada. Tofino is this amazing destination that people from around the world want to get to. We've got miles and miles of these pristine beaches. It's definitely a place right now, especially with COVID, where you can get to and have fewer faces and more spaces, as Dr. Bonnie Henry likes to say, who's our public health officer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been, yeah, it's just a beautiful place to get to.
And you had to close for a bit?
We did. We made the decision on March 22nd, and it wasn't that we were required to close, but we're in a very small, remote community here on the west coast of Vancouver Island, with a very small resident population, and our hospital has not a lot of space, and it just seemed like the right decision at the time. All the hotels and resorts and a lot of the local businesses made the same decision that, you know, our number one draw here is tourism, and just at that March 22nd, it was just not time for visitors to be in our area. So we closed on the 22nd of March, and we reopened our doors on June 3rd.
Okay, June 3rd. And you did a little bit of a shift in your retargeting of guests, right?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the Canadian government has kept some pretty strict policies in place for international visitors entering Canada. Currently, it's a 14-day quarantine if you're coming into Canada, that you need to self-quarantine for those 14 days before you go anywhere. As well, the US border was just announced the other day again that it will be closed again to non-essential visitors until at least August 21st. So we did have to really look at who our visitors. This time of year, traditionally, we see a lot of international visitors, so European, US visitors, and our Canadian guests who visit with us usually do it in our shoulder season. So we've been very fortunate that Tofino is just a popular destination with British Columbians and Canadians, and so we just had to make sure we pivot to those markets and let them know that we had availability and that they could get here.
So you opened on June 3rd, and you had a really good, in these times, you had a really good month in June. So you had 64% occupancy.
Yeah, we ran about 64% occupancy. We did keep we only opened to residents of British Columbia, which helped us sort of just slowly ease back into business, for us to really make sure we tested out and were comfortable with our COVID protocols, that our staff were comfortable, because we did have to retrain everybody after being off for a couple months and then adding in new things that they had to do in their daily requirements. And so we were happy with how the month went. Certainly wasn't a normal June for us. Normally June we're running about between 87 and 90%, depending on the year. Our ADR was down a little bit, but again, we were happy with just this slow, measured return to business.
So what did your bookings look like direct versus your other channels?
We've always excelled at direct booking. Probably, I would say, maybe taking out our wholesalers, but direct bookings right now really is about 80% are calling the hotel, either booking directly with us over the phone or booking online.
So what do you think the next few months are going to look like for you guys?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We're actually starting some messaging heading into fall, especially talking about, couples travel and get away. We've got two styles of accommodation here at the property. We have 2-bedroom cottages as well as more traditional hotel rooms in our lodge building. Our cottages, we have no problem filling. So because especially right now, guests are interested in having that self-catering, they feel a bit more secure, having this space that's their own that they have a little bit more control over. So I think the next few months, it's really, again, still going to be focused on our local market. It'll be interesting to see what happens as school returns. I don't think necessarily students going back into the classroom, but families and guests having a lot more commitments versus what they've got right now in summer. So we're again, everything seems to be closer in what we're doing. We're not looking quite as far out because we actually don't know what far out is going to be. There's talk about all the different waves, and if there's going to be a second wave, how is that going to impact us? But we are starting to slowly think about, do we shut down fully this time if it happens, or are we going to remain open in some capacity with maybe just pivoting and shifting a bit more.
As we wrap up here, do you have any advice for the hoteliers out there? I know you do.
I know.
Or I wouldn't have asked.
I think at this stage as a hotelier, it's really being flexible and just keep trying and testing and what's going to work, and be ready to, sort of have like plans A, B, and C, the what ifs, and being in tune with your employees as much as your guest. We've worked really hard with not only, I work really closely with our executive housekeeper to make sure that his team is comfortable with the occupancy levels we're running at. Obviously, we have an owner who really wants us to try and get as much as we can. But I think it's taking a deep breath and, being flexible and ready to shift and pivot and accept change, and it's going to happen, and nothing will go quite as you think it's planned.
All right. That's some good advice from Heather. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
All right.